What's going on, guys? I hope part 2 of the question and answer video wasn't a complete and total clusterfuck because of, cough medicine. But here we are again. It's time for part 3. Time to look at a couple more of these questions, so let's jump in. I will post, once again, the link to the original thread, the original video, where you can ask your questions in the comments below, or in the description box below, rather, just in case you haven't gotten your opportunity yet to ask anything. So we start off with NASA Story. Here's a question I've been turning over in my head for a very long time. What do you think of the term New Wave of American Heavy Metal? It was originally described as a blend of European-style riffing mixed with throaty vocals. For one thing, this is a bit vague, and it's just a tag people slap on many modern American metal acts because they're too lazy to figure out what they actually are. But then this leaves bands that don't have the classic heavy metal stuff. Okay, I'm going to just sort of describe this very easily. Is the fact that the New Wave of American Heavy Metal tag is extremely vague. It's very vague for a reason. It's meant to really categorize the recent uptick in American metal real drive and desire. It's becoming something that's sought after doing again. Because the 90s was a time where they kind of smoothed out a little bit, and there was a little bit more of a focus on other styles of music. Especially the late 80s and the 90s, where even whenever there were a lot of metal bands, like the second wave of thrash was going on and glam metal was still a thing, there was a lot of focus being transformed and turned toward different scenes. So this is more a blanket term. It's supposed to be used to categorize the resurgence of American metal to perhaps a little bit of prominence, either that or a little bit of importance in the culture. Now, from there is where you have to sort of do your splitting and your subculturing, whether or not you want to make it as a part of the new wave of American thrash metal, or if you want to be part of the groove metal scene. And really, the term modern metal is kind of a blanket term also, and one that doesn't really describe or categorize anything outside of what somebody perhaps may consider to be mainstream metal. That's really what I think a lot of people really mean by that, is mainstream. But it really, once again, is a matter of interpretation. Meteor09 says, you are one cool motherfucker, or motherfucker, whichever you prefer. I like both. That is all I have to say, so he has no question. Meteor09, you are also a cool motherfucker. Or motherfucker. So Cheesecake Damnation asks, what are some of your favorite hardcore bands? I really don't listen to a lot of hardcore, and I'm getting a phone call from nobody. Hate it when that happens, but yeah, that's probably the hardcore scene saying, why the fuck not? But it's just not something that I ever really got that deep into. There are probably some groups that I have listened to in the past that would classify, but it's just not a scene that I ever really got deep into. I'm sorry, buddy. I really am. Christian McGuire asks, what do you think of the Power Slave fanboys and the Killers fanboys, and the people who blindly hate on Blaze Bayley albums and modern Maiden? Also, do you think it's okay to take the albums that are unpopular just to be contrary? For example, Load and Reload, or the Tony Martin era Black Sabbath. Tony Martin was a really, really good singer. I think that the Black Sabbath material that he produced is a bit underrated. It's not being contrary. There are some people out there that I believe will do that just to try to start a little rise, try to rustle some jimmies, especially now in the internet age where memeing and trolling is such a big deal. But, legitimately speaking, the Tony Martin era of Black Sabbath is good, and Load and Reload are halfway good. You could combine the albums together with one half of each and have a very solid and very competent album. There are a lot of people that feel that Iron Maiden has not been good for quite some time. They feel like actually prior to Blaze Bayley coming in was where things started to really go to shit. Really, it was something that happened right after Seventh Son and the Seventh Son, where the problems started to really expose themselves within the band. I don't really understand why they cannot accept the fact that Maiden is a different band now. That Maiden's method of writing and method of going about their business has shifted a little bit. I guess I can understand it a little bit, considering There are certain bands that I can't get behind what they are doing now. A lot of people give me a lot of grief for giving Trivium a lot of grief, but the reality of it is that their writing style has just really shifted a bunch ever since their original couple of albums, and it's just like their albums just haven't resonated with me in modern times. I don't dislike the band because of it. In fact, I think the Trivium are pretty talented. It's just that the way and the method in which they went about it is very, very different. So maybe I'm guilty of that for Trivium, but for Maiden, it's really difficult for me to hear that because they have a lot of those same elements, and really what is produced is wildly different enough that it should captivate some people, and like it captivates a lot of us. I don't get why a lot of people need that 80s style of Iron Maiden gallop in every single song by Maiden in order for them to be happy. It almost seems more so like this is just something where in their youth in the 1980s, they were a huge Maiden fanboy, and anything that doesn't sound like that doesn't give them that same brand of nostalgia, almost like they're a bit wayward in their fandom. Alright. We have your waifus with, alright, so it is music related, but what are the chances of any of us seeing some of the material that you wrote? I need to figure out a way to make this like somehow possible. None of it has music. It is all lyrical. And I'm trying to determine the best way to do that. At one point in time, I thought about just finding like some cheap music track and then just speaking over it or something like that, but that's really lame and kind of dumb. So whenever that happens, whenever I figure out that massive, awesome thing, then I'll do that. If you're a band though, and you want to see some of this material, some of the writing, just let me know what kind of band that you are. If you're like a death metal band or something like that, chances are it's not going to work. But if you're a progressive metal band, chances are it will. I'm still sick, as you can tell. Jacob Hadrell asks, looking forward to Chelsea Grin's new album coming out in 2016? I guess so. A little bit. I wasn't too thrilled with Skin Deep. I didn't think it was all that good of a song. I think it was the weakest between that and the new Killswitch track. But, I don't know. It's going to be weird to hear the guys without Jason Richardson because I think they really, he really helped them kind of expand their horizons a little bit. And I'd like to see them continue doing that. But this is slated to be a little bit more of a direct album that's supposed to take them back to their original first disc. So I guess that's not going to happen. I am really stoked for Jason Richardson's, for his first solo LP, which was crowdfunded. And he's working on it right now, and Jason, if you're watching this video, I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to help you out with the crowdfund backing, brother, but get in contact with me. I'd like to talk to you about potentially reviewing the disc. We have allmediareviews.blogspot.com. Any thoughts on Brooke Waggoner's new album, Slevin? I've never heard of Brooke Waggoner. You'll have to help me out on that one. If you are a member of the Facebook group, then pop me over a link to something, either that or maybe I can get you an email address. That way you can pop the album my way. Because I've not heard of this. You've stumped me. So, good question. A good question. I just unfortunately don't have an answer for it because I haven't heard of it. Lily Akanelo says, if you had a dream. Yeah, that's it. I had a couple dreams. One of them was really cool because I was at a Days of the New show, if you guys remember Days of the New. And for some stupid ass reason, I ended up on stage, and then like other members of the crowd ended up on stage, and my mom was there, which was really weird because my mother has no clue who Days of the New even are, and it didn't even look like she knew who I was. So that was kind of weird. I don't know why I imagined I was at a Days of the New show. It must have been in the 90s, though, because there was a guy that was in front of me that handed me a can of Red Dog beer. And that beer has not been around for ages, and for good reasons, because it sucked. Thrash Maniac 99 asks, what's up, Mark? Here's my question. Thoughts on how much pro wrestling has changed in the last 20 years? Considering that currently TNA seems to be on its last legs and WWE is in a big-time funk with their top talents being injured right now. Okay. The wrestling. This is something that we talk about a lot on the streams. and also on CKN versus the World, which I'm hoping to have a video based off of Daniel Bryan's retirement going up very soon. But wrestling in the past 20 years has changed a lot because of sponsors and because of getting a lot of backing from outside interests. So there you go. That's one of the biggest reasons why things have changed up. But right now, TNA is on its last legs because they can't keep a goddamn media deal. And really, their product, their brand, just looks really, really bad right now. And barely anybody can see it. So they're almost a glorified independent promotion. Ring of Honor right now has more traction than they do. New Japan has more traction in the States than TNA does right now. I'm just throwing that out there. As far as the WWE is concerned, they have hit the injury bug for a couple of different reasons. First of all, their style is one that directly conflicts with a lot of the styles of the people that they're bringing in from the indies and from other federations. And I'm going to touch base with that with the Daniel Bryan video. And second of all, the way in which the workload is being distributed, where certain people are really slated to do most of the heavy lifting, whereas some of the others are literally the 5 or 6 move guys, that's all that they do. That's what protects some of those big name guys, and that's what is supposed to protect them. But what happens is that whenever you're doing a very limited arsenal and not really testing yourself and really getting yourself in that position where you can do a lot of different things, you will open yourself up for injury. And if you get a lot of people who are a little bit green that are trying to adapt to a brand new style, or just honestly try to grip the style that perhaps WWE had been teaching them from the start, then you're going to have problems. You're going to have these situations. I think one of the main reasons why in the 90s and the first part of the 2000s that you saw these guys over and over again always being on TV and always performing very well was mainly because of the fact that they were able to do a little bit more. There was a lot more freedom. They weren't restricted. And it gave them the opportunity to kind of know their body a little bit and to know what they were able to do. And I think there's a lot more restriction now, and it's actually hurting the Fed a lot. Because look down the names that you have that are gone. Cena's gone. Rollins is gone. Cesaro is gone. Bryan now has retired. It's insane. If we weren't getting Roman Reigns shoved down our face before, well, it's going to be happening even more now, because really, who's left? I mean, yeah, there are a lot of people coming in. We have AJ Styles coming in. Balor Club looks like it's going to be a reality. And then we're going to, of course, have Gallows come in. We're going to have his buddy come in, whose name is just pooped out of my mind. But even still, are we going to be able to keep the course righted for right now? And Triple H is champion. Ugh. That's once again a key example of the Fed doing something that was safe, but I'll give them a pass because it at least works in a storyline. If you read this, you die asks, what are the top 5 concert experiences that you've ever had? I'm not going to go in any particular order. My very first concert was, as I said, I think last time, Dio, Motorhead, and Iron Maiden. So that was amazing. Gigantor 2006, I believe it was. Overkill got a longer set than they were originally supposed to get. Arch Enemy was there. Megadeth was there. Opeth was there. So, of course, Super Jackfest. Opeth, Devin Townsend, and I believe Dark Tranquillity would rank right up there. Immortal and Apsu, because I drove down there in a snowstorm and saw them, and it was just an incredible, incredible scene. And then Porcupine Tree and Big Elf, because that show is just absolutely marvelous. A couple other shows that I absolutely loved that are non-metal. The Red Hot Chili Peppers, one of the best bands I've ever seen live. The Killers put on a really, really good show. And speaking of the Killers, Brandon Flowers puts on a hell of a solo show. I just love going to shows. I haven't gone to nearly enough. Strike 4707. What if Bruce never joined Maiden and they continue with Paul? Do you think they... how do you think they'd be today? Patience. There's a video about this that will eventually happen. Patience. XXX Zombie Jason XXX. I had a request. If you may accept this review, I would enjoy seeing a review on Flesh God Apocalypse new CD that's coming out next month, February 2016. Also, a question outside of the music realm. What do you do for hobbies besides being on YouTube? We're talking about music. I talked about this a little bit in the last video, so it's over there. I like sports. I like all sorts of entertainment. I like going outside, walking, writing. I have bad knees, so doing a lot of physical activity sucks, but I still do it because I'm insane. I love wrestling, as you could probably tell with that answer a couple of answers ago. I'm a gamer. I like watching anime. A buddy of mine and I were running through a bunch of One Piece last night. We're going to no doubt be doing that forever because there's like only 800 episodes of the damn show. But yeah, I love all sorts of different stuff. Really, I pride myself as being a knower of a little bit of everything, but a master not necessarily of anything. And some may debate that because of the whole music thing, that I'm a master of that, but no, I'm still just a student. I will always be a student of this craft, and you should always be a student of your craft, even if you do become the master. Kyle Austin asks, how many times do you listen to an album before you do a review? Usually I will listen to an album between 2 and 5 times. With the running average being 3. And that's simply because once is just simply not enough. I used to do just one listen way back in the day. And I noticed that at the end of the year for some releases, my opinion would change. And that would be with listen number 2 or number 3. And I thought to myself, man, if I had just done this before, I would have kind of recognized a couple things. Now, there are other albums that I could easily have had an opinion after one listen, because after listens 2 and 3, things don't change very much. But I feel that you also get a little bit more information with those subsequent listens. One more, and I think we're going to give it a call. Burning Beard 714 says, "Wow, I read most comments, and you got bigger fanboys than Bieber." None of my fanboys have cut themselves yet, and how many fans do you have, kid? 0? None? Troll? Go back to your bridge, kid. So Marky Zahin, do you currently watch WWE? I don't really. I watch a lot of top 10 videos and stuff like that to sort of get a little concept of what's going on, and I'll watch individual matches on my own time. Do you use Spotify or some other music streaming service? I've used Spotify every once in a while, mainly whenever I'm too lazy to go grab an album or look it up on YouTube. But I really don't make a habit of it. It's not my thing. It really isn't. Those are really, I don't want to end on that, so let's go with this. Here's the final one, the true final one. Georgios, wow, I'm bad today. Georgios from Greece. Greetings from Athens, Greece. Sorry, but I have a musical question for you and a few more. Sure, that's fine. Number 1, what is your opinion on Riot, Vicious Rumors, Agent Steel, Warlord, Armored Saint, and Cage? All of them are very good bands. Very good scene. They each brought something really unique to the table. I actually have Through the Storm by Riot somewhere in my collection, and some of the others, like Armored Saint, I have a greatest hits of theirs. I need a little bit more of this in my collection. If you want to help out, no, I'm kidding. Don't do that. Number 2, did you like the new Star Wars? Yes, I love the new Star Wars. I thought it was really good. I don't get why people were giving it so much grief. I love the film. Great visuals, great storytelling. Did it mirror some of the previous editions? Yeah, but who cares? It was a great story, and it captivated you. It kept you on board. You didn't want to look away from the screen. Number 3, your favorite place for a vacation. I mainly went to the same places whenever I was young. However, I dated a girl from Los Angeles in the early 2000s, and I would love to go back there. I really would. I would love to go back there. Not for a vacation, just to like hang out, maybe even live. I think for a vacation spot, either somewhere in Florida or maybe the Northwest, domestically. If it were European, I would probably go to Scandinavia, or Australia, or maybe even Japan. Those would be a couple of the cool places to go. Greece would also be a place that was pretty high on my list because of the history. I'm kind of a history buff. I like to see all of that stuff. My mother recently went to the Holy Land, the Medjugorje, and to see all of the history that's over there, and all of the structural architecture, as well as just everything that has just like thousands of years of history behind it, was just infinitely interesting to me. Wine or beer? Good question. Both. Why not? Number 5, favorite food. Do you know how to cook any type of food? My favorite food is pizza. I can't cook worth a dick, unfortunately. It's not hard to do. I'm just not skilled at it. You've been watching the videos for about a month or so. Keep it true. Hey, brother, you keep it true. You keep it you. And hopefully I'll be able to keep you as a subscriber. Alright, guys, that's it for me. I'm still kind of sick. I've been sick for like a week. I should really just, I don't know, either die or live. My body should just decide. But stick around, because part 4 is coming soon. And if you would be so inclined as to want to directly support my endeavors, there is a link to the CCAN Patreon below. And I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Thanks.